Okay, let's get started, Rebbe. Let me see. I got a little. I'm switching places. We're going to start in Zachreinu now, and this maybe I really appreciate your learning this with me. I'm not sure that you're using this book, and I know you're working on Pirush Milim, which I'm doing that too. I'm using less of the book, but I'm thinking of the RASHASH SIDDUR. But maybe they opened up the new shul over here, so there might be a place for me to really set up. We've been davening in tents and classrooms. It's just been really rough. But now I have a giant room. I have a giant room over here now, so maybe it'll work out better for me. Okay, on Tov Reish Lamed Bet, it's what's Zachreinu. So I just skipped. I don't like to skip because there's a lot of stuff in between. But let's just look at what we have here in the Sidur. I think I'm working okay. Okay, it says Zachreinu, right? There's a note by it. It says Gematria. The Zachreinu is the Gematria of Av, Kasa, Nun. Oh, he says, and then he shows you Av, and then he shows you Kasa. This is what the RASHASH gives us. Okay, so let's read the number Kuf Aleph, excuse me. Wait a minute, I do something else. I forget what I'm doing. I take medicine in the morning. Let me just take this little bit of medicine here. All right, he writes like this on the word Zachreinu. And I think that for me, this is like another look at the RASHASH and new things, new exploring planets where no man has gone before. Well, other people have been here. We're reading. Okay, it says Zachreinu. He says Milvad Hamshachas Hamochim V'Hagavuros Lanok. So besides doing that, and that's basically, we understand we're talking about the Nesira now. Yesh l'kaven kavonas nosefes b'Zachreinu LaChayim. In this phrase, so we're going through the various, etc. Ki hinei b'shlosha tevos Elokeinu ve'Elokei Avosenu. Na'aseh zivug l'tzorech holedes hamochim hamakifim d'pinimus d'zir anpin. Now that's a big sentence, and I'm not sure that I got this, but he says Elokeinu ve'Elokeinu is really, maybe we know this is a lashon yichud. So in Na'aseh zivug l'tzorech holedes, and what is the purpose of the yichud here? L'tzorech holedes hamochim hamakifim, for bringing out the mochin hamakifim d'pnimius d'zir anpin. I'm not sure I understand 100% what he said, but just looking at it, he says that it's giving birth to the mochim hamakifim, the penimios d'zir anpin. So I'm sure that he means that instead of the acharayim d'zir anpin. I'm not sure what the difference is because we skipped a little bit. So these apparently, these mochin, we are working on the penimius, I guess. And you have to have, there are mochin, which are also makifim, okay? V'achakach v'tevos Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov, nimshachim shlosha aros shel Elohim makifim. So these three makifim, what three makifim? So what makifim? Again, he says, when you say these, there's three words there, right? Nimshachim shlosha oros shel Elohim makifim. What are the three oros of the makifim that he's talking about? Now let me see if he used the word oros or ha'aros. So just if I'm not looking at it close enough. Shlosha ha'aros. Okay, so it's radiance. It's not the juice itself. It's a secondary light coming from these makifim that are generated. This is what's generated as a result of the yichud. And they receive this ara. So why are there three? So I'm not sure I understand the three, but he says other than that, there's just three words. So Elokeinu. Anyway, going on the Mekomos. So they go to three different places. V'shlosha aros elu nirmalza v'shlosha tevos Elokei. That corresponds to neged shlosha mochim b'kefin dechabad. Va'ata dechabad. So let's go. The Chabad is three, Chachma, Bin, and Das. So again, his words of B'shlosha Tevos Elokei, etc. I think he means Neged Shlosha Mochim HaMakifim Dachaba. V'Hatacha B'Tevos Zachreinu. Then you say the word Zachreinu. That comes after that. Zachreinu LaChayim. Nimsach HaShefa B'Shorsha HaMochim. We find the Shefa here now in the roots of the Mochim, the Keser, that in the root, that is the Mochim that are going to Keser, the Zer Anpin. Hanimsaim, the parts of Ima, which are found where? Because Ima goes into Zer Anpin, found inside of Zer Anpin, in Me'irim Merachok L'Keser, the Zer Anpin Besod Makif. So that's fairly straightforward to what he says. I'll read it one more time. Ba'atacha b'teva Zachreinu LaChayim. We start into this. Nimsach HaShefa B'Shorsha HaMochim, the Keser, the Zer Anpin, the roots of the Keser, of the Mochim that are going to go into the Keser Zer Anpin. And where are they found? They're found in the parts of Ima, Me'irin Merachok, and they shine from a distance, the Keser, the Zer Anpin, Besod Makif, in the secret of a Makif. So they're Makifim. So they're coming out of Ima, and they shine into Zer Anpin. Now, it sounds like she's inside of Zer Anpin, and so I guess you call that Penimius. That's the Penimius, right? They go into Zer Anpin. But he wants to tell me something like this. Normally, when I think of Makifim, I think of them as not being inside a Zer Anpin. And it seems like he's saying like this, is that Ima's inside a Zer Anpin, and she is able to deliver into his Keser well, I guess she said three. Shorsha, Hamochin, the Keser, the Zer Anpin, and then some parts of Ima, Me'irim Merachok, and they shine from a distance into the Keser Zer Anpin, Besod Makif. So they're inside the Keser Zer Anpin, and they're shining into there as like, it's a Makif. Why? Because it's coming from, all right, I don't know. Because if it's inside a Zer Anpin, it seems like I could be a Makif, but he says it's a Makif there. So then, Achatach, you say the words, Melech Chofetz B'chaim, Yored, the Shefer Shalom Makif, and the Mata El Chabad, the Zer Anpin. So that's the next thing. So we have this definition that he gave us. He says that, okay, there's aras that are coming from the Nai of or well, I guess maybe he's going to say, the Teferis, and that's a Chod Yisod, the Tani of Ima, shining over there, and they're shining as Makifim. V'achar kach b'tevas kasvena b'sefer Chaim yored the shefa the Makifim the Mata Yosef Elochaga the Zer Anpin. V'tevas l'man Elokim Chaim yored the shefa ad l'mata b'nai dezah. So that part, I think, is understandable, because he's saying that you have these words are tied to, the particular words are tied to actually the fact of bringing these Makifim. So this is the first thing that you have to understand when you're saying the words Zachreinu LaChayim. And what we're going to do here is L'cham Shech L'zer Anpin Makifim Elyonim. We're going to send him Makifim Elyonim Shehein Sod HaTefillin Elyonim. And here's a new idea: is there the secret of the upper tefillin? How many tefillin are there? So this is the secret, the upper tefillin, the Zer Anpin. We understand that the tefillin are outside the head of Zer Anpin. So these are Makifim. So I'm thinking that maybe instead of thinking like they're inside a Zer Anpin, it's hard for me to understand how they could be a Makif, but nonetheless he says that there are Oros there. The Ha'ara has two different parts, and so one of the parts is the Makif. The Rosh Hashanah Sheva Gevurot, the Kach Bad Chagat. That's 7. Al Leah. Val Esses spheres, the Kesed, the Rachel, and also the 10 spheres of Kaf. This is your Kavanot, that you're going to bring bring this Shefa to them. The Bakach and Neser is called parts of Leah. And as a result of this, it causes the Sira of the entire parts of Leah, Bechem Kesed, the Nuk, Hana Rachel, the Zer Anpin. Also, you're going to get, at the result of this, is going to be a Nesira of the Keser of the Nuk. And this Nuk is said he means Rachel Mizer Anpin. So, okay, that's where we're at there. We said that. Introduce a new idea here, because, the RASHASH, he cuts up all the different, either Partsufim or Oros, or he cuts everything up. So let's go over to the next one. Kaf base, it shows you the name Av. But he writes on this, it's just not Av, he says, it actually goes on the net. I'm thinking I'm in the wrong place. There it is. On the word Zach. No, it is. Where's Kaf base? Oh, there it is. Gematria Av Kasa and Benun. So he says, Shemos Elu, these names, Av Kasa Nun. Gematria Communion Zachreinu. So it turns out that they come out to the Gematria of Zachreinu. Romzim Al Yichud Abba Shuhu Chavaya B'milu Yudin, Shegematria Av, Im Ima Shehi Ekye B'milu Yudin. So these top radiances of Av and Kasa, they come together. Shemisyachle bebechinas or hamakev shalachem, and they come together. There's a yichud that takes place in the makifim. I don't think we ever saw the idea that there are yichudim in the makifim or anything else about the oros. Because of the yichud that takes place between these two names, it causes the shefa to go down to zer anpin, derech hamishim shari bina, and they have to go through to get to zer anpin. And Ramisha Shari Bina and their Mazib Os Gimel, which is the reference to the letter to the letter Nun. So that's his original idea. V'chol zen misbayer l'cholon, and we're going to learn about this later. So I'm still stuck in the idea of how something inside of Zeranpin could produce a makif. Because I would think, but he said it's the makif of the panemius. So since it's inside, it's just the fact that he wants to say, I'm trying to sort this out in my mind, he says, he wants to say that she's going to bring Ha'ara into Zeranpin. So normally we don't really talk about what the whole name of the Ha'ara is, and he says, in order to complete the Nesira, you have to bring in the makif of the or. It's not just that it's an or panimi because it's inside a zeranpin, but it also is oris are divided into makifim and panimi. Let me blow my nose a little bit. So let's see what else he says. Now we're going to go to Kuf. That was Kuf Kuf Bet. Now we're going to go to Kuf Kuf Gimel, where he shows us the Av and he shows us the Kasa. So he says like this. He said, let me see, I'm okay. He says, Mefaret as Hashem is the zivug Abba v'ima. Now we're going to specify the zivug of the aros that come out as a result of the zivug of Abba v'ima. The or makif the lokomon. He said we're going to learn about this as we go along. Ve'elohein, these are Abba. So he says Abba who havaya b'milu yudin gazeh, and he shows it to us. If you add it up, it's 72. Gematria 72. V'imehi ekya b'milu yudin gazeh, and he shows us Kasa Gematria 161. Okay, that's all he's telling us right there. Those two things are moving. Now I see that we're going to read now the RASHASH at the top. This is the introduction. If we had the time while we're davening to be able to do this, then you work on it so hard that you remember it. That's a whole other story. So So this is an idea that comes other places, and I don't know how to, I never understood 100% what we're trying to get to here. So it turns out the Avkasa is a gematria of 233. Is that right? If I got right, 233. That's from the word Zachreinu, the or makif to Abba ve'ima, which refers to the or makif that's coming out of Abba and Ima, Abba inside of Ima, I guess. So from this comes out the Mochim Elyonim, the Chaba de Abba ve'ima. Okay, so what did he say again? Let me read it again. He's going to say it again, so he's going to say it better. So this is the Hakavanot here. They come to that gematria of 233. the or makif the abba ve'ima yontzach makifim el yonah the haba the abba ve'ima. So there's an upper set of makifim. Derech hamishim sharibina, which we mentioned before. Misper nun, which is the number of nun, 50. The Zachreinu, that's the nun. That is what something he does a lot is he has the word Zachor, and then he starts going through he just told us something about the word Zachor, which is the gematria, and then he says this, here's your nun over there. Then this lav shel b'tiferes the abba, then these mochim are in the tiferes of abba ve'ima. That's the concept of the tani, that's coming from the parts of up above them. Hamalubah b'kesed. Now maybe he means that's the makif to begin with, because that's all inside of Zer Anpin. V'hoya the tefillin the chabad el yonim. So now he tells you another idea. He says it turns out there's an upper level of chabad. So upper level of tefillin. Shehem shor shehamochin shebekesed Zer Anpin. From those tefillin, that idea is the root of the mochim that's in the kesed Zer Anpin. This is a little bit strange, the language of what he's saying, but he's been very, very kind to us, and he's going to give us a way to understand it. So on the phrase where he says, comes to that gematria. He says, Maskarno bedor makiv the abba ve'ima zochor maskarno. So we're saying it here. The vishak of the neseno ata the hamshek makifin is their anpin. So what we want to do is we bring the makifin. Again, maybe the makifin all come, and he's about to say this. Maybe he's going to say that they're all coming from the teferis, the lower part of the teferis of abba ve'ima. Hanikroim tefillin el yonim, so they're called by these makifim are called the upper tefillin. So all the what he says, all the shefa, hamshachas of the shefa, comes from that yichud. Where's the or makif? And this is what I think maybe he's trying to tell me. It's coming from that teferis of abba ve'ima. So he said, let's have al yadecha bezecha yumshach shefa or hamakif l'zer anpin, and this therefore gives the or shefa, the or hamak, the shefa that or to zer anpin. Let's look at that word. He says maschala l'shnei cholokim. So he says harishon, the first part of it, yeshbo arba osius, which is the word zachor, should be gematria regel, which is 233. Like I say that. I have an open thing where I'm trying to understand, and I don't work on it because I can't understand it, the Kriya Shemal Lamita that's presented by the RASHASH. So this is one of the words that's presented over there is the concept of Zachor. Zachor is the word regel. And there's a reference over here to that yichud, which is the yichud of the male and female forms, which are av and kasa, shehem hamakifim the abba ve'ima, and they in fact are the makifim of abba ve'ima, hem begamatra rega. So again, what exactly is the meaning of the word rega? Well, we know the simple meaning of it means a foot. But on the other hand, or a holiday, maybe it means a foot festival, something like that. But I don't see that developed here. So we're supposed to know this in its place. The word regel, then I'll try to read back on it. According to that, he says the word regel really refers to the yichud of avkasa. That's really what it is. It comes to that gematria. So he said, "V'yatza mekifa mal yoned haba de abba ve'ima derek chamishim sharibina," and they come through the 50 gates of bina. Mispar nun de Zachreinu, and that's the nun that you find in the word Zachreinu. So just twist it around your head, the word Zachor, now you stick a nun in there, and you switch it around a little bit, it comes to Zachreinu. So the second part is the letter nun, hanishar b'teva Zachreinu, which remains with the word from the teva Zachreinu. B'yesh l'kavin bo al chamishim sharibina, besides that, Hamarumazin v'oz nun, that really is referenced by that word nun. So he said, Ki ha'makifan ha'nimshachim ma'ava v'ima, over the zer anpen derech hamishim sharibina, the nimsiki af Hamakifin nimshachim miyuchud abba ve'ima. So even though, so he says nimsaki af, even though that the Mekiba comes from that yichud. Ach machmeshach shefen nimshach derech hamishun sharibina. But since there's a yichud, so the yichud is what? Ima is pregnant. And so therefore, to get out of Ima, you need to go through these 50 gates. I think he's saying like that. Shashefen nimshach derech hamishun sharibina. Al-Kain yesh l'kaveh bepratos l'hamshichom l'chamishim sharibina. So therefore, we have to have the kavanah there. Have this kavanah bepratos l'chamishim sharibina to the 50 gates of Bina. Okay, so now you're taking the yichud coming out of Bina, and we understand it. Now they go to Kuf Kov Vav. V'nislavsha b'teferes the Abba v'Ima, and it gets clothed in the teferes of Abba v'Ima. Now this is what we said this beginning, the teferes kind of a maluvid pekasa desa. Hamakifim elyonim nimshagol mechabad the Abba v'Ima. They come actually flow down from the chabad of Abba v'Ima el Bina to Bina. The Misham el Teferes, and from there they go into Teferes. Asher Sham Malubish Kesed is their anpin, which is where the Keser is their anpin, because we have to remember that the Keser period is really like you learn in the Baticha, the Patach Eliyahu, is that the I remember what I was going to say. The Keser is their anpin. I forget what I was going to say. Kinai the Abba v'Ima mislavshim b'to chabad chagat nai dezav. So he says they go into the bulk Mekifim come completely, all of them into the chabad chagat nai dezeranpin. But the Kesed dezeranpin nimshach miteferes the Abba v'Ima. That comes from the teferes, bringing us back to a little understanding of that. Number Kuf Kof Zayin. V'hoyat to fill in the chabad elyonim, a new concept here. There's a chabad of elyonim. Shehem Shor Mochin Shabakesed is their anpen, which is the root of the mochin that are going to their anpen. Leishnem Shnei Mekifim, the parts of their anpen. So there are actually 2 Mekifim of the parts of their anpen. Yesh Bechinas of Mekifim Elyonim, Harishonim, Shabbateferet the Ima. There's that Makif. There's a Makif that is, again, the words are Mekifim Elyonim, and they're the first Mekifim Elyonim, Shabbateferet is their anpen Ima, which is in the Teferes of Ima, let's say for example, but I think it means Abba Em Ima. She'enim yorded as their anpen, they can't go into their anpen. That's these the Makifim Elyonim. Ela omdin lamala b'parts of Ima umeirim berachok b'bechinas Makif. So now you understand that the reason why the first question that I had about this, which is how could it be Makif and Panimi, because it has to do with what is going into their anpen, and what is affecting their anpen, and these are actually coming from the Teferes of Abba v'Ima. Why are they called by that name? They are because they are the root of the Keser Zer Anpin. And now there's another set of Mekifim. There's a Mekifim Tachtonim also. In other words, I guess he's talking about the Lamed and the Mem, I would assume that, of Tzelem. Meirim b'bechutz b'sod makif. So these are lights that are too strong, but they go into Zeranpin anyway, but they have to come back out because they're too strong, and this is a makif. This is outside of Zeranpin, shining into Zeranpin or at Zeranpin, and they went in, broke out. So these are the lower tefillim, that we found in the forehead of Zer Anpin, like we understand tefillah today. We're going to learn this later, because as he goes through Zachreinu, see how interesting this is as we go on, because we have the same process going on during the Saras Yimei Tshuva also. So he said, Zachreinu LaChayim, that phrase, Zachreinu LaChayim, Haim so the tefillim, this is the secret of the tefillim, Elyonim Shehim Mekifim, as a kesed is their anpin, they surround the Zer Anpin, so you have 2 lights, once again, it's the Lam and the Mem of the Tzelem. Some of it is in, some of it goes in and breaks out, and some of it never goes in because it's too powerful, Umeirim Bo Merachok and Nizgar, and that's the concept. He really kind of flushed that out. Let's read the top part. We're running out of time, so let's read the top part. I know that when you read the Rashash, there's always like something missing in his notes. So I'm assuming that his students understood that. They understood all of this panemius that we're talking about, and they understood any missing parts. Let's see what he says here. Ata yekavan lahasha rishimo shel kol ha'oros and iskarim shehim hasheva gevuros desheva malchus dekachbad chog. Instead of chug, he says chog. And so he says there are 7 different spheros v'shlish elyon teferes. So he said these are the Sheva Gevuros. Now, to really kind of work on this a little bit, Shehem Mizbach V'vav Rivui Havayas. What do they look like? Well, it looks like 7 of them. They contain 6 Rivuyos. So he says of Havaya. So now he says there's a concept here called the word netach. So the netach means a piece, I think. Cutting it up, a cut up piece, maybe. And there's also another one, a piece, which refers to the Revuah of the Havaya Shabbat. Okay, I think we're out of time. That's it. We weren't able to go any further. So we will get into this next time. This is Baruch Fleischman, and bringing you the best I can that